Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Canadian police are on the lookout for two dudes who stole expensive sets of Legos from a store in British Columbia.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. But you know what was more expensive?
What?
Our flights there and back. Yeah. Why did we do that?
Oh, you paid for your flight? Oh.
Yeah. But I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not a Lego guy.
No,
I never was.
I'm not
you?
either. No,
Never
held a Lego, never bought one for my kid. I don't get it. I don't get the whole fascination with Legos. Sorry.
My grandsons are starting in with Legos.
Okay.
They are, but I don't really understand it. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Giannis is out. The ACC wants two teams in the playoff. And Booger McFarland joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with tonight's Thursday night game, a real good one, between the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. Both teams are out of the playoffs right now and need this game. The Cowboys are 6-5-1. They've won 3 in a row. The Lions are 7-5. They've lost 4 of their last 7 games. Wilbon, which team needs this one more?
Cowboys. I know I answered quickly and seemingly definitively because the Cowboys have to come close to running the table. You see all these stats out there. You know how much I sort of hate these things, and I'm giving in to this one, Tony. I've seen the estimates, whichever one has the Cowboys only being left with a 6% chance to make the playoffs if they lose tonight. 6%, come on now. And they got still a couple of tough games. I know the Commanders don't maybe look that tough, but the Commanders are playing. You know, they proved that to Denver the other night. So I think the Cowboys have to win. I don't think they're going to win. I think all week they had those 2 great victories in 5 days over Kansas City and the Eagles. Great.
Yep.
I don't see them beating Detroit in Detroit tonight. Maybe you see that because I know you're sort of all in on Dak. You got Dak in your top 3 in the MVP. You're on that Stephen A. Greeny Dak train. Good for you guys. I'm going with Detroit heavily, decisively tonight.
I basically think this is an elimination game for both teams.
Both,
so
really?
I think they both need it the same. Both need it the same, as does, by the way, Kansas City on Sunday night. They need to win as well. But I have become fixated on Dallas lately.
Yes, you have.
I'm the guy who thinks that history will look back kindly on Jerry Jones this year. I know he traded away Micah Parsons, which was crazy, okay? But he brought in George Pickens for one. And right now, George Pickens and C.D. Lamb are basically all pro together. He brought in Quinnen Williams,
That's
from the
huge.
Jets. You wouldn't think there'd be a really good player on the Jets, but it has changed the defense. The defense has been much better. There are some numbers here. The first 9 games of the season, the Cowboys allowed 143 yards rushing in each game. Now that's down to 70. And if you remember when the whole Micah Parsons thing was going on, Jerry Jones said, because I heard it, he said, we need to stop the run. And now they seem to be stopping the run. We'll see with Jahmyr Gibbs. And the other thing to point out is he may have caught lightning in a bottle with Brian Schottenheimer. I mean, he might be the right guy for Jerry. He stays out of Jerry's way, and he just coaches the team. So, yeah, I'm fixated on him. I am. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm saying
I was going to try to pin you down. Cowboys to win for you tonight?
I don't know. Well, don't you always say the same thing? Watch the game? When he is on the court, they actually have the best offense in the entire NBA. And when he is off the court, that falls to 3rd from last. So don't tell me that last night after he got hurt, they beat the Pistons. Tell me how many games you think they're going to win in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And now to get to the larger thing, the swirl of rumors about Giannis. Mike, you and I have heard these things for many months, if not years.
Yes.
And I emphasize years.
Yes.
We have, that Giannis wants to leave. Yeah. We have talked on this show about where he might fit in. This is years it's going on. I don't think anybody believes anymore that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to finish his career in Milwaukee. Do I think he'll get traded? Yes, I do. But I don't think he's going to get traded now because nobody wants to buy damaged goods. You have to let him get back to playing.
Yeah, but 2 to 4 weeks, Tony, even if it's 4 to 6, I think he's going to be traded this year. Whether it could be right up to the deadline. And yes, it could go into the summer because you have all these second apron complications which go beyond the performance complications, and whether or not you can give Milwaukee a haul and still have enough in the cupboard to be a contender. Why get Giannis if you're not going to contend? But there are a couple of things out there, and you know your Knicks are always in the discussion. But you have to have Jalen Brunson and Anunoby on the other side of the deal to play with Giannis, or what's the point? And Golden State, which is so intriguing, Tony. Look, I know that Jimmy Butler's salary is like it's a match. But you want to have Jimmy Butler. You got to have Steph and Jimmy, right? So then there's this rumor, and I emphasize rumor out there about Draymond going away, maybe a third team, or Draymond going away in the trade and Kuminga going away, and you leave Giannis with Steph and Jimmy Butler, which is incredibly hot. If that threesome winds up together.
It's not enough. It's not enough. All right, look, remember the last time this happened with the Milwaukee Center? It was Kareem, and it was 50 years ago. And the difference was Kareem said, I'm done
I want to go.
I want
Giannis
to leave.
has not done that
and
yet.
Giannis keeps playing footsie.
Yeah.
Keeps playing footsie. Let's go to college football and yesterday's comments by ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips. Phillips told the Associated Press that the ACC deserves 2 teams in the upcoming college football playoffs. Phillips said, quote, I have conviction and confidence in our teams, starting with Miami. The second piece of that is that the Virginia-Duke winner should be absolutely in this college football playoff, unquote. Wilbon, what is the word for Phillips saying ACC deserves 2 bids?
Before you point it out, let's just acknowledge, Jim Phillips. Been close with Jim Phillips for a long time.
I know.
Okay? And if there's anybody you
Northwestern.
want, I'll use this word, Tone, lobbying could be the word. If there's anybody you want lobbying, all right, in the commissioner position, it's Jim Phillips, who knows what he's doing. But it's more wishful thinking, because I don't see it. I'm not going to take too many shots at Duke, because there have been too many loan repayments that have gone in that direction of Durham for me to take too many shots at Duke. But Duke can't be in there, Tone. Duke can't be in with 5 losses. I don't care who the losses were to. Strength of loss, strength of record as opposed to strength of schedule,
It's too
which
many.
is the thing.
It's 5.
It's too many. I get what Jim
many.
Phillips is doing. I hear him.
Yeah.
This is his job, and he's damn good at it. But it's just lobbying to the rest of us, I think.
This is my word. My word is insane. And the last time I used the word insane on this show, it was about Nico Harrison trading Luka Doncic, for which he later got correctly fired. Jim Phillips, as you know, can look in that room, or the ranking room, and know a lot of the people there, knows their faces, knows them well. And persistently this year, that room has said the ACC stinks, and we don't want anybody from so convoluted, the tiebreakers, that they end up with Duke in there and not Miami. Miami should be in there, and they would win, and that would be the end of the story, and it didn't happen. Let's take a break. Coming up, would the committee choose a 3-loss Alabama team over 2-loss Notre Dame? We will ask Booger McFarland.
And Ohio State and Indiana are locked for the playoffs, so what's at stake in the Big Ten title game? I mean, Notre Dame wants to be a half-baked ACC team. They want to play the schedule or part of it, even though they don't want to be in the conference.
But they want to keep all the money to themselves when they have a network to themselves.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by... You are watching Pardon the Interruption, presented by Grey Goose, part of Happy Hour.
We are headed into conference championship game weekend, which makes it a perfect time to visit with our great friend, ESPN NFL and college football analyst Booger McFarland. And we start with this. Let's start with the SEC title game between Georgia and Alabama. I think the committee moved Alabama ahead of Notre Dame to set up allowing Alabama to get into the playoffs as a 3-loss team over 2-loss Notre Dame. That is my feeling. What is your feeling?
Well, I think the committee kind of corrected a wrong that they did a couple of weeks ago. I think Alabama should have been ahead of Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago, but they didn't have it that way. So now, as we get to the penultimate rankings, they move Alabama ahead. And to your point about Alabama having a third loss when they play Georgia in the SEC title game, I think Alabama might get left out if different things happen. To your point, though, a third loss doesn't necessarily guarantee that. I think if you're the committee, you look at Alabama and you say this. They went on a run where they beat 4 ranked teams in a row. Like it's one of the best runs we've seen all college football season. And Notre Dame has been steady and consistent, but they haven't had a run like that all season. Now, they beat everybody by a pretty good margin. I think if you're the committee, you got to look at Alabama and say they're one of the 12 best teams in the country. I think the question comes with Notre Dame. Let's just say BYU loses. Okay, now you have Notre Dame and Miami. They were one spot apart. They probably will be right next to each other. And then I think it comes down to a situation where you have Notre Dame and Miami at 10-2. And they got to choose one. I think Alabama could be safely in, especially if they win. They may even get a bye. But I think, to your point, they gave them a little room, a little wiggle room with that third loss if they lose to Georgia. But I think we're headed to a situation where it could be Notre Dame versus Miami, and get your popcorn ready on Sunday afternoon.
Booker, maybe there's a little less intrigue. But I'm fascinated, I'm sure a lot of people are, by number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Indiana playing for the Big Ten championship. But is there anything at stake beyond pride? And yes or no, how do you see that playing out?
Mike, if there's a trophy at stake, I want to win it. Like, those are some of the greatest words I've heard uttered by a coach. And it's a Big Ten title on the line. And I think more than anything, it's another opportunity for Indiana to prove they belong. Think about last year. They took on Ohio State. They played Notre Dame. They failed in those 2 instances. Now they come back with a better team. They got a better quarterback. Fernando Mendoza, by all accounts, will be the number 1 pick in the draft. And I think if you look at Indiana, here's your third opportunity on a national stage to take on what everybody thinks is the best team in the country. So you get a third opportunity to show America just how good you are. So to your point, it may not be playoff implication because I think both teams are going to be in the playoffs. But I think from a program standpoint, you give Kurt Signetti, 11 years and $90-something million. I think there's pride on the line for Indiana and Signetti to prove they are among the big boys in college football.
Can't wait for that game. I must say, all right, even as a Big Ten guy, I'm in the tank for that game. Number 11 BYU against number 4 Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. Are you a believer in BYU? I mean, and do you see them having much of a chance to take down Texas Tech?
They got a puncher's chance. If you think about the first game BYU played, they went down to Texas Tech, and they got jumped on early like they had never seen the game of football. This is going to be a neutral site. I think that'll help them a little bit, but they got to play a different style of football. You can't get into a shootout with Texas Tech. That defensive line, maybe the best defensive line in the country, will get after you. That quarterback, Baron Morton, and that offense is high-flying. If you're BYU and Kalani Sitake, you want to win this game, it's got to be a fist fight. You got to take Texas Tech into a phone booth, and you got to see who's going to come out. It's got to be a physical game. You got to run the football. I think BYU has to have 200-plus yards rushing if they want to win this game. But I give them a puncher's chance because you know in boxing, if you get hit with one shot, you can knock somebody out. And I think BYU has one shot, and that's called running the football.
We will get you out of here on this, and I will point out to viewers that over your shoulder is an LSU helmet. You are an LSU grad. How do you feel about being the next school that Lane Kiffin's going to leave?
He's an offensive genius, and I think he did more with less in Oxford than a lot of people. Now he comes to the Mecca, and if you don't know what the Mecca means, think about this. If you're a Catholic, you want to get to Rome to sit at the Vatican. If you're a college football fan, you want to get to Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. That's what it means. And now Lane Kiffin has the opportunity to wake up the echoes, the real echoes down in Baton Rouge. So it's a perfect fit. It's the right time. I think it's an understatement to say me as an alumni and all LSU fans are super excited. However, that comes with expectations. I don't think 8-4 is going to cut it. And Lane knows that. So the expectations are high in Baton Rouge, but we couldn't be more excited to have him as our head coach.
Just as long as he doesn't take out a long-term lease, because he's not going to be there long-term. Thank you, Booger.
Thanks, Booger. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Look at you two guys taking shots at my new head coach. Come on, man.
Booger,
so
by the way,
easy.
wearing a shirt from the Summit in Las
So
Vegas.
easy.
Golf course that he plays. Let's take one last break still to come. Updates from Ravens practice on the status of Lamar Jackson's ankle.
And soccer star Trinity Rodman was reportedly ready to re-sign with with Tony's Washington Spirit. Could she now be headed to Europe? I'm going to LSU next year. I haven't been down there to a game on a Saturday night in 30 years. It's time. I want to go.
Yeah, that's good.
Look, it is the most exciting thing on a Saturday night in college sports you can do. It's LSU.
Go and pet the tiger for me. Stick your hand in the cage.
Yeah,
pet the tiger. See how that works out.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Grey Goose. Make time wait. Please enjoy responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy 22nd birthday, Jackson Holiday. The overall first pick in the 2022 baseball draft out of Stillwater High School in Oklahoma wasted little time in getting to the majors in 2024. Holiday started 139 games at second base this past season, the most among American League second basemen. Holiday hit .242, 17 home runs, and 55 RBI in 649 plate appearances. But he had 140 strikeouts and was worse in the second half than the first. Holiday's younger brother Ethan, a shortstop, was drafted 5th overall by the Rockies in this year's baseball draft. Their father, Matt Holiday, was a 7-time All-Star, a World Series champion, and the NLCS MVP in a career mostly with the Cardinals and the Rockies.
Tony, nobody cares about strikeouts anymore. He's starting to show some power numbers with 17 and 55. And by the way, if you have 2 sons and they're both All-Stars, that makes you the king of fatherhood, doesn't it? 2 All-Stars.
Certainly does.
It's not out of the possibility. I'm sort of rooting for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Happy anniversary, Herschel Walker. On this day 43 years ago, the Georgia Bulldog running back beat out John Elway and Eric Dickerson to win the Heisman Trophy. Nice top 3, huh? Walker had finished 2nd the year before and 3rd the year before that as a freshman. In 33 games at Georgia, Walker rushed for 5,259 yards and 49 touchdowns. Yeah, 33 games. Walker entered pro football with the New Jersey Generals of the USFL, who became owned by Donald Trump, whom you may have heard of. Walker went to Dallas in the NFL. It was the trade Dallas made, sending Walker to Minnesota for a cornucopia of players that helped the Cowboys become great in the 1990s. Walker now works for Trump again. He is our ambassador to the Bahamas.
You say those 3 names again. Eric Dickerson, John Elway, Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
Anybody? Do you have 3 like that this year? We don't even know if the person who wins or any of the top 3 are even going to make it in the NFL, much less be those guys.
I don't know if they've ever had 3 quite like that. I'm not sure.
Crazy.
Happy trails to the Washington Spirit's contract offer to Trinity Rodman. The soccer team had proposed a multi-million-dollar extension with the star, one that Rodman was reportedly ready to accept. But The Athletic reports that NWSL Commissioner Jessica Berman has vetoed it, believing the structure to violate league rules. Rodman is being courted by European teams, so if she can't get paid here, she could follow in the recent footsteps of several other top players and she could head overseas. The union has appealed the ruling.
I wish she could get the money here. No matter where she gets it, great. But it's kind of cool having Trinity Rodman, a star, in a town that hasn't had all that many stars in sports lately. Okay, Ovechkin, it's kind of cool having her here. I hope it works out
understand
here.
I don't understand how she can't get the money.
I know.
If they've offered her the money, why can't she get the money?
Come on now.
Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Lamar Jackson did not practice today. That is cause for concern, right?
Yes, this has been going on for a month. Even after the injury, when he's back, is he really back? The Ravens, meanwhile, extended tight end Mark Andrews, 3 years, $26 million guaranteed. Is that a big deal?
He's the all-time leading receiver in the franchise. He has earned this. Your Bulls have lost 5 in a row, including last night to the Nets. Defend your team.
I'm not going to defend. They stink. They started the season 5-0. Now they can't beat Charlotte and Brooklyn and New Orleans. What is going on there? Alex Ovechkin scored twice last night to reach 911 career goals, 10 in the last 11 games. I know you're impressed.
He's still great. He's 40. He's still great.
Yes.
Last one, the LSU women go for their 9th straight win of 30-plus points tonight. Do you like their chances?
Kim Mulkey has, 4 titles? She's going for a 5th. Looking at Dawn and Gino saying, let's go. Shaping up as a great women's company.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads.
PTI.
For tonight's PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon, who you got tonight? Cowboys or the Lions?
Well, Tony, you know I've been running off my mouth all week saying that the Lions are going to win and win convincingly. And I have believed that. I'm not just being a son of the Midwest, which I am. And weird as it sounds, you know, as a Bears fan, I'm rooting for the Lions. I'm tired of the hype of the Cowboys, which I believe is, again, overstated. The Cowboys have had incredibly impressive wins, their last two, particularly with Eagles and Chiefs. I'm not trying to diminish that, but I think the Lions are a better team. But here's where I'm getting a little nervous as we get to the 11th hour. If St. Brown is not going to play, we don't know that for certain yet, but I'm starting to worry about that. And there's no Laporta. That really handicaps to me that Lions offense. So that would worry me. It would give the Cowboys some sort of advantage, but I'm still going with Detroit at home. I think the pressure is going to get to the Cowboys tonight, and we're going to see them revert to what they were the first 6-7 weeks of the season, not the last few.
Okay, so I, like you, think Detroit is a better team than Dallas. But I have been stumped all year by their record, by their tendency to lose games. I know they have good losses, 2 to the Packers, right? 1 to the Eagles, 1 to the Chiefs. I know, but there's a lot of losses, even if they're good losses. I don't know what's going on there. Beginning of the season, you talked about the brain drain. Maybe you're right. I am not saying Dallas is a better team, but I'm saying from the perspective of being a sports columnist for a long time, Dallas is the better story. If Dallas can win this game, it's an ongoing great story. They beat the Eagles. They beat the Chiefs. They now have 3 in a row. If they beat Detroit, a solid playoff team last year, you can maybe believe in them. Their defense has gotten better. I get it. They got rid of Micah Parsons, but somehow they've learned how to stop the run. Can they stop Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't know if they can do that. This will be a very big test. And on offense, Dak Prescott is throwing the ball to Pickens and C.D. Lamb, and they look like, those two receivers look like Pro Bowl receivers. So if I'm sitting there writing a column, I want Dallas to win because I want to be able to say, maybe it's not hype. Maybe it's not overstated. Maybe right now, towards the end of the season, is the takeoff point, and maybe you ought to get behind Dallas. So from that standpoint, I'd like to see them win.
You know what's always a better story? You know what's always the best story? When Dallas stinks. But it's from the perspective of someone who's on I-95 with the Giants and the Commanders and Eagles who just incorporates Dallas like incorporating Notre Dame. There are a lot of us out there in flyover states who just think the Cowboys stink, and that's always the best story.
Try not to take this personally. Try not to put Dallas on I-95. They're only 1,000 miles away from it. And try not to take it personally that this is a knock at the Midwest. This is your sports columnist.
It is.
You understand that that's actually the better story. Because Dallas has been bad
from the
for so
Midwest.
long.
Detroit's never won. What's a better story than that? Oh, the Cowboys, let's hype them up some more. Let's bring them closer to I-95. Get them out.
You said you were the son of the Midwest. You said you were the son of something.
I am. Son of Midwest. S-O-M.
Son of a preacher man.
We're done. That too. Back to you. Grandson.